Ryan Sheehy, and I am just truly honored to be sharing my story with you. Before I share my breakdown to brilliance and reveal to you how I overcame a lifelong battle with mental illness, I want you to get to know me intimately. We're gonna travel back in time and look at who I was as a young lady, starting in my childhood years, into my teenage years, college, and then throughout my 20s and 30s. Then we're gonna learn about the triggering event that led to my first major episode and ultimate hospitalization. And then finally, I'm gonna tell you how I'm gonna turn this situation around for a greater good and teach others how to break down to brilliance and honor insanity too. Are y'all ready to join me? Maybe a little bit of an emotional session, so if we have any tissues in the room, feel free to pull them out now. Okay, but before then, of course, we gotta start with some humor. So I want you to know that this is when my identity crisis began. So my name is Ryan Colleen Sheehy, okay? So 3rd grade, my mom thinks it's a great idea to cut off all my hair so I look like a boy. So the next day I go to school thinking I'm gonna look cool, no. Walk into class, everyone's like, oh my gosh, you look like a boy and your name is Ryan. Are you a she or a he? That's when it began. I was 8 years old and I felt dramatically different from everyone else in the room. Not only because of my name or my short hair, but I was the tallest girl in the room, and within a couple years, I became the most developed too. So I stood out naturally. Now, I have to tell you, I would get past this identity crisis and decide big hair don't care, and I was just gonna own it. So quickly, this hair of mine became part of my personal brand. And I think that's what's kind of amazing, is that something that so often pains us, if we just own it and realize it's really who we are and that's what we're meant to rock, then it makes for a good story, a good brand, and certainly a lasting first impression. So double my age, so I go from 8 to 16 here. Now, Ryan was, this 16-year-old Ryan was the all-American teenager. I was the class president. I was captain of my cheerleading squad. I just fell in love with Broadway musical theater. At age 16, I took up vocal ensemble, and I would you believe, at the age 16, discover the field of public relations. 16 years old, I shadowed a television news reporter, and I went out on the field. She was doing a story in Southwest Florida on homelessness, another passion of mine, not being homeless, but caring for those that are homeless. And so we went out in the field, and quite honestly, we were in a news truck for hours on the side of the road, and I'm thinking, I have a speech assembly to write, I have a dance routine to prepare, I have things to do. Do these people really sit around and wait all day to get stories and interviews? And so I quickly discovered that wasn't for me. I maximized my day a little bit more. So in fact, not to dig on the media, of course. I work in public relations, so they're our friends, right? But really, truly, I discovered at the age 16, by way of my guidance counselor, he quickly identified that I was made for the field of PR. So at 16, I knew that, and I would go on throughout high school and really be, I mean, you can ask my sister and brother in the room, quite the goody-goody. Kind of was. I wasn't living on the edge like my peers were, as much as I guess I should have, maybe. I don't know. But the reason why I tell you this background story is because I want you to know that this is the new face of mental illness, right? Yeah? No? Do you see this as a face of mental illness to you? This story, this background, this history, any track record that you'd ever experience, what's about to happen to me, would happen to me. I share that with you because I think it's so important to know where we come from in order to know where we're going. Now, my 20s was all about the career. I was Miss Career Woman. I graduated from the University of Central Florida on a Friday, and I started presenting national touring Broadway shows on a Monday. Who does that? I do. Yeah, so always focused. Now, I show these roles, responsibilities, graduate school, jewelry designer, publicist for SeaWorld, and then ultimately, I land my dream job. I thought I had dream jobs, presenting Broadway, promoting tourism, but no, I become a university professor